Hey everyone, I am sitting here waiting to pick up my son from kindergarten. I figured, got a few minutes, might as well answer some questions. We are, of course, talking about Earth's disaster cycle, the fact that we are on track for another one, right on time, and seeing all the signs. We get this question all the time. How do you deal with the super fast wind, hundreds of miles per hour? The answer is you won't have to. No such thing exists and is not going to happen. Something like that would completely scour the earth. Nothing would survive. Even if you could get underground, the amount of stuff that would be piled on top of whatever your exit was would be impossible to get out from. Not to mention that the pressure changes in whatever underground chamber that was would be pretty phenomenal. But there is no super fast wind. What you need to remember, the atmosphere cares not for what the crust beneath it is doing. And it's not like the crust beneath it is shifting at hundreds of miles per hour relative to what it is now. Yes, if you're walking and in the middle of taking a step when the crust begins to shift, you might stumble and fall over. But we're talking about approximately the acceleration you feel when you're stopping at a stop sign. And significantly less than those of you who wait until the last second to hit the brakes before the stop sign. There is not going to be any super fast wind like that all across the planet. There will be pretty tremendous wind, lightning, and hail with some of the storms and electrical activity that are coming in the immediate aftermath of that. It's going to be a pretty turbulent kind of environment there. But no, there's no super fast wind. You might be noticing a theme to this. A lot of you guys think this disaster is going to be worse than it is. And remember, the worst one of the last 100,000 years took out 4% or less than the species that were here. It is survivable. That's why humans survive every time. We're going to make it again this time. It's just that a lot of unlucky people won't. What we will see in addition to those terrible storms would be the great earthquake. The worldwide earthquake is going to be a real thing. A lot of that is more than just the crustal shift, but the tectonic plates the fault lines are pretty much all going to crack and shift and rumble. Land rising and falling due to mantle heaving is going to be a real thing. Volcanoes are a real thing. And of course, the tsunamis. Basically, the things that we have been talking about and telling you to prepare for. That's what's on deck. This is a very good question. How long do we have to wait until after the major solar blast to take things out of a Faraday cage? So that, they won't get fried. And well, a lot of you know, you've heard me say this before, I am not planning on saving a ton of electronics. I am basically preparing for an age without electricity. And one of the reasons is because after the solar micronova, it's going to take a while for the magnetic field to come back up and actually protect our planet. And in the wake of that micronova, as the electrical and magnetic activity on the surface of the star is sort of recharging, and especially in the aftermath and the wake of that event, going to be some pretty powerful super flares. In fact, this is, for those of you who saw our interview with Dr. Robert Schoch and saw that the ice melts pretty darn quickly, maybe in a matter of days, it's because we absolutely are getting phenomenal super flare activity. Can't really put much stock in there being a whole lot of electrical safety, even in the aftermath. The micronovas passed, the auroras have stopped, things like that. You have to forgive me there. Somebody needed me to move my vehicle. Apparently they couldn't get out of their parking space despite what is basically a runway between me and them. Anyway, I can't really say that there is a good timeline I can give you for pulling things out of a Faraday cage. Like I said, I'm not preparing on having a whole lot of electrical access after this. Of course, there will be a time when that is possible. It could be weeks to months before the solar flares at super flare level actually die down. It could be weeks to months or maybe a couple years even before the magnetic field comes back up to a level where we could say that the planet is protected once again. And so I guess that would be your short answer to that. Not quite science related, but I'm getting a lot of questions about this thing around my neck. First of all, I think it looks awesome. Energetically, personally, I notice something the moment I put it on. I notice it when I take it off. and put it back on again. The guy who makes them is an observer. He came out to one of our Arizona events. You can actually pick one up, and some other cool energetic stuff at the link below the video. And just for observers, there's a special promo code that you can use in there to actually get a discount on this stuff. I want to mention, we've gone through the first 2 days of the personal calls, the one-on-ones with me and some of you guys in the observers, and holy cow, have I found one of my new favorite things in the world. I always love talking to observers. It's why I spend maybe too much time in the comment section, or have traditionally. It's why my wife and I turned a 36-foot RV into the Mobile Observatory Project and went all around the continent in 2014. It's why we did the conferences. Interacting with you guys is always fantastic, and there is going to be a link to how you get on one of those calls down below the video. Probably the coolest part is I'm actually getting the chance to dive deep into individuals' personal locations, personal plans, really get interesting insights from other observers at times, and do a deep dive on areas that I haven't done before. I would say about 80 or 90% of the individuals are wanting to talk about their location, their plan, what I expect at their location. And even though it's kind of a scary topic, it's not something that we're all looking forward to, I am absolutely loving this analysis. For those of you who have seen our Safe Zones videos, as I told you in the Safe Zones videos, they're very generalized. You know, I didn't go by the square mile. I didn't go by the city. I didn't go even by the local region. I just sort of gave the most basic high-level notes about that. But in these calls, I'm literally able to dig down deep into, do they need to be underground where they are? Are they in an area that I'm looking at as having a high potential to rise or sink in terms of the land? What are their main concerns before this event? What are their main concerns during the event? What are their main concerns after the event? And this is something that you guys should be doing anyway on your own. But it's also nice to go through the rubric, all the factors, all the things we expect to happen over those different timelines. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who I've been on the calls with. I can assure you I enjoyed them as much as you seem to, and look forward to doing much more of that. Keep the questions coming in as well at suspiciousobservers.org, and I'll see you in the morning for the daily show. Be safe, everyone.